Good evening and welcome to Inferno TV. And we've got a special guest with us tonight. Aled's back from his concert tour.
Thank you.
And also with us is Coach Whistle.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, Coach.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Aled, I'm going to let you ask the first question.
No, you're not, John. I've been away for a month. You're going to ask the first question and get the ball rolling.
Yeah, start it off.
Okay. Well, obviously you've been with us a few months now, Coach, and thanks for coming. How are you enjoying it? Being back at the Devils.
Oh yeah, great so far. Yeah, I've really enjoyed the city, the players, the fans again. Got to see a lot of people, I've seen in the past, and even a bunch of the younger ones who are playing with my sons here in minor hockey. They come up to me and say hi to the boys. So yeah, it's fond memories, and they're all coming back.
Good. Oh no, and thanks for coming back. As you probably know, it's been a season of up and downs for us this year, and how do you think that's affected the guys on the ice? Do you think that's had any influence on them, or?
I'm sure it has. I wasn't here for the majority of all that, and it's hard not to think about stuff, but at the same time, it's a sport. It's a professional sport. You get paid to do your job, and there's other stuff that can be going on in people's lives too, right? And
yeah.
You never know whatever's going on, but you just have to be able to be mentally strong. And when it comes hockey time, it's hockey time, and then at the end of that game, you can go back and work out things that you need to be working on. And so, did it affect them? I think it did, and but at the end of the day, like I said, I thought you have to be able to put that to the side and still perform and do your job.
No, I think that's a very fair point. If we talk about the hockey itself, we talk about the team. We seem to struggle a bit to maybe score as many goals as we needed. We had a lot of shots in games, maybe didn't score the goals. Do you think that's an area that we had a bit of an issue and something that we need to look at for next season?
We do. That's an area in our game that for sure we have to look at. It's not just scoring, it's how you get the goals. And we didn't have a lot of guys that would drive the net and block in front of the goalie and stand there and take that beating in front of the net. And not everybody wants to do that role. And you have to have the player kind of coming in who does that role, and you have to have it defined out for them right at the beginning before it starts and say, this is the role I need you to play. And if you're not the guy for it, I'd rather know now. And so we have a lot of good players, and I think we're lacking a little bit of that. We had a couple guys that are willing to drive the net, but you need everybody.
Yeah.
Every single forward should be able to drive to that net and bring back their defenseman with them and create some opening, create some space. So you're shooting from that slot, from the hash marks instead of the top of the circle. And it's a big difference shooting from the top of the circle or to the hash marks. So you're going to get way more goals if the goalie's screened and if you're shooting from about 10 feet out instead of 15 to 20.
So
yeah.
just more generally on that then, what did you think of the balance of the team that you walked into when you came into Cardiff this season? Is there sort of certain areas, you've touched on one there, that you'd like to improve on in terms of balance for next year?
Yeah, and that's kind of 2 in 1 goal. We do need a little more of a natural goal scorer where the puck follows or hits the guy's foot and comes to him. And but we do need some, it's not necessarily size up front, but those guys who are willing to drive the net and drive the defenseman back and drive wide. That's how a lot of offense is created for yourself and our forechecking. Like we need 1 or 2 guys who love forechecking, and that's their role. So when we get those kind of players in, it just creates space for the other guys, and it allows them to score. You need everybody to play their own role and do it well, and that's why it's a team sport. There's different players who bring different things to the team, and you kind of have to have a lot of everything.
Yeah. So with talking about a particular player, with a guy like, say, Fulton at Fife, who's a player a lot of people have talked about, is he that sort of style of player, do you think? And I'm not suggesting that he's a player we might be getting, but he's maybe the sort of player you might look at, a guy like that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's got a lot of speed too, and speed at the end of the day kills. I mean, if you can beat the guy regularly to the puck or beat him on a breakaway or whatever it is, speed is an avenue that gets guys points. It really does. Guy in Coventry, Janot. The guy's fast. He can skate. He can play every second shift the whole game, and he's just as fast at the end of the game as he is in the beginning of the game. So he has the puck a lot. He creates a lot of chances because of his speed. And we didn't really have a guy like him either. And you can't have everybody, and that's just the way it is. It'd be nice to have everybody you wanted, but it doesn't work that way. So we have some good players, and I'd like to get some of them back, but they're going to have to either change their role a little bit or show me that they can do something different as well as what they have been doing.
Yeah.
In terms of the sort of the more mental aspects of the team, there are a few occasions this season, throughout the season, no matter who was coach or whatever, where there were a few implosions, or there seemed to be moments where the team sort of went, you could go from a really good high at one point in the game, and then all of a sudden the game would be lost in 5 to 10 minutes of a hockey game. Is that something you see? You think that extra character is within the players that are there currently, or do you think that's something which you may be lacking currently, and you may need to bring certain guys in to help, with that overall makeup of character within a team and consistency?
Yeah, that's sometimes hard to answer that question, right? It's a good question, and we have good players in our team. They get along very well. I think we have some pretty good leadership, but at the same time, like the question earlier, when things were bugging you, maybe sometimes in a game, like when we were in Sheffield, we were going all right, and it's 2-1. Next thing, it's 5-1.
Yeah.
And that was in about 3 minutes. It was 5-1.
Yeah.
We were done, and you could just see it on the bench. Guys weren't communicating to each other, not really talking. Their heads are down, and you try to remotivate them a little bit, and it was done. At the same time, we were up in Hull. We were winning 3-0, and we were playing really good. We just couldn't get the fourth goal. So I'm not going to blame them for a lack of effort on that, because the effort was there, and we had a lot of scoring. We could have been winning 5-0 at the end of the first, but if we had some, a little bit more natural offensive players, we probably would have been. But I think that game in Sheffield really hurt, and the game in Coventry where we lost 7-1 or 6-1 it was, I think mentally those were draining on them, and I think that brought some of that out of them. When it wasn't going their way, they thought it might go their way, and within a 2 or 3 minute time frame, it's really gone the other way. And that's where the mental toughness comes in, and I think that kind of drained them.
Is that something that can be solved through a greater depth of leadership, do you think, within a roster? Or?
I think so. For sure it does, You need that guy stepping up once in a while, doing something different than normal. Didn't really have a guy that's going to go out there and create a little havoc when needed. I'm not one that's ever going to send a player out and do it, but I've always had players who knew their roles, and they knew. I had some very good ones. Paxton Schulte, for example, things weren't going good some games. He would hit me in the leg. He says, "Put me on right now." And I knew something was going to happen here, but you know what? He knew that something needed to be changed or we're going to lose. And those guys are vital on your team. Like, they're vital. Like, those guys create so much for energy on your own bench. Going back into the dressing room, they create it because of what they've had to do on the ice. Whether they win the fight, lose the fight, make a hit. Sometimes they get a penalty once in a while doing it, but you know what? You have to put that up. You can kill it, because if you do kill it, he's trying his hardest to change that pace of the game for our team.
Yeah.
And it's something, to be honest, it's something that you see in other sports as well. It happens a lot. Sorry, it's a bit of a personal thing of mine with the Welsh rugby team, but it seems like which is very frustrating. But it's kind of it seems to me like the in-game management and sort of almost the hockey intelligence sometimes seem to be missing. Like we'd sort of maybe have a 1-goal lead or something, and then just things like making a simple play out of the zone and things like that you don't need experience to do. You can get people making those plays at a young age as well if they've got that kind of that hockey intelligence. And it just seemed at times that was sort of missing, and especially when we had those implosions, it was just missing those few players who could just make that play and control the game and make the right play. Because so often it seems, if you just make the right plays, you don't have to be the best players in the world or the best team, but if you make the right decisions, it can change momentum for you within a game.
Yeah, I mean, there's players who've played in the NHL for 15 years, you don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
Because they're a 4th or 5th or 6th defenseman or a 3rd-line centerman who does everything right. He's just never going to be a top scorer. He's never going to be a toughest guy, but they need those guys on every team, and we do too. And we did a lot of puck watching defensively when we don't have the puck. And we worked on it almost every day or every other day in practice. And I harped on it, and we did get better at the end. We did a lot of drills where we had to pick up a player and not watch the puck and leave a guy open. Because when I first got here, we sure gave up a lot of good scoring chances in that slot area where guys are standing at 2 feet from him, and he doesn't go and get them. Like, he shouldn't be 2 feet away. He should be right on him, right? So there's nothing. So we did a lot of work on that. And again, that takes pride in defense, and that's hard work, and every single player is in control of that. He's in control of how hard he works. He's not in control if he's going to score, get scored on, but if he works his hardest when he doesn't have the puck, you usually win a lot of games, or at least every game should be close.
Yeah. Now, we talked about that a lot early in the season, that the defensive pattern wasn't working, that we were giving very good forwards too much space and time. When you got guys like the quality of the Henriches and the Janand and Doucette, Tender, guys like that in the league who can finish, we were stepping off. And then, of course, you came in and you obviously recognised that there was an issue with the D, and fairly quickly you changed the pattern. So that was the changes you've made, was it?
Yeah, or tried to help, you know, and but I mean, it still happens sometimes. The game in Sheffield where they started scoring those goals so fast. I watched the video again and showed the players that one, and 2 of those goals were right beside the guy, like 2 of them, like right beside him, and he still stuck his stick out and scored. You just can't have that at this level, because if it's 2-2 or 2-1, you know, we don't score a lot. We want to keep the game around 2-1 or whatever it is, because I don't know, when I was here, we didn't win too many games 6-5 or 7-4. So we had to work extremely hard defensively. And, you know, I watched Hull there. They can, you know, they can score 4 goals in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But they can also get 5 or 6 against
Yeah.
the way they play. So it's but they got goal scorers in their team. So, you know, all of a sudden if they score 4 on you, it's hard to come back. I mean, look at Sheffield losing to them. And, you know, and I don't think it was from a lack of trying. They just get goals when they kind of need them. And that's what goal scorers can do sometimes. But, I mean, we want some defensive players who don't want to just think offense. You know, they have to be two-way players, and we'll work on that right from the beginning of the year, right through.
I think it's definitely, well, from my point of view, something which the Devils have really missed for years is having 1 or 2 guys who are just going to hurt people in their own zone. And, you know, you see it in most other leagues, you know, with players, if you're in front of the net, you're almost fair game, and you know, and the defensemen there make your life hell, and if you want to score, you've got to go through that to get the goal. But it seems for years at Cardiff, we haven't really had that presence, whether it's 1 or 2 guys, you know, potentially there, who are just going to support their goaltender and make things difficult in front of the opposition net. And it seems like we have to fight that when we're playing against other teams, but perhaps that's not always the case.
Well, it's a catch-22, right? Because the way the refs call things now, too, it's hard, right?
Yeah.
You never know sometimes which way they're going to call it, and sometimes it is a penalty, and sometimes it isn't. But, I mean, when he's watching everything, and there's 2 or 3 guys in there, he's not 100% sure. But it also comes from guys driving the net, you know, and I don't think we did that very good. We have a couple guys that do it, but you need all 10 forwards doing it. And some of those other teams like Nottingham and Belfast, their one guy drives the net every time. Even if it's a goal scorer, he'll drive the net. And that brings a defenseman back, and that opens up space for somebody, you know. And the defenseman, all of a sudden, now they're in front of the net with the guy battling, and he's, you know, he doesn't know where everything is because the guy's going so hard at him, and the goalie gets nervous because he's got 2 guys coming at him hard. He can't see things. So we need that more. We need more of that, and I think that's going to create some stuff. But I mean, if you're going to just stand there, it's pretty easy for a defenseman to come in and be physical on you.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's kind of a catch.
Yeah.
You mentioned Giants then. If we briefly talk about them, what do you see as the keys to I know there's probably lots of them. What do you see are the main keys? What do you see are the main keys to their success?
Everything.
Yeah. You know what? They're the best well-rounded team in the league, right from top to bottom. They have 6D who are all good. They have every forward can score, every forward plays defense, and every forward hits and works hard. There's a couple guys that don't hit. But, I mean, overall, they still get in your way, even if they're not hitters. And they're all good skaters. But their biggest thing is they work hard.
Yeah.
Every game. They're down 3-1. They just think, oh, it's all right, like we're going to win. So that's the attitude you got to have, but that's just not given. That's a culture that you got to create. And you know what? That's been in Belfast actually for quite a while now, that they never really give up because they think they can win. So, yeah, and that's probably why they won so much this year. And you know, I was really surprised that Nottingham was able to come back the other night, and you know, they were down by 3 and they were able to come back. And I think Nottingham's goalie, for me personally, I've seen him play now a few times. I think he's probably the best in the league that I've seen. You know, I haven't seen a lot of teams play more than once, but he's very good in there. He's very calm. He's, you know, in position all the time. And if he's on his game, you know, Nottingham has a team that can score 3 and 4 goals. So they got some big, strong guys who are willing to go to the net. Really like the Salters player on their team.
Yeah.
He goes in the corners hard. He comes out with the puck. He creates space for everybody the way he plays. And he screens the goalie well in the power play. Like I was watching from our bench, you know, the goalie has a hard time seeing when he's in front. So that's a player who creates a lot of stuff for his team just by doing what he can do.
Yeah. Well, we've
He's a
mentioned
player.
him a few times.
Yeah,
So
we have.
That feels good now that you've
you've,
validated that.
You've said a few times that Salters was a player you liked.
Yeah, I like him too.
On the Belfast team, people talk about a lot of the skill players, obviously, but a guy like Adam Keith, who's, for me, he's the heartbeat of that team and has been for a long time. Anything you'd say about Adam?
Yeah, I've got to meet him a couple times at Rob Stewart's testimonial, and very good person, good player. I already know he's tough.
Yeah.
Stick up for anybody on this team, fight anybody there is. But more than that, he's a good guy who works hard. And Rob Stewart's been a friend of mine for almost ever here, and he says he's a great leader, great in the dressing room. All the players love him; they all respect him, and that's probably something that he's earned.
Yeah.
It's not just given. So he's a player that he would help any single team he's on win.
Yeah. We've talked about that. We've said a few times, that he's the sort of player we'd love to see on our team. I don't think we'll see him leave Belfast, but
I don't think so. No.
But every team, I suppose, as you say, is looking for a guy like that. Looking forward at the teams who are going into playoff games now and then into the championship weekend coming up early April. Any particular teams that you feel are likely to be in the weekend, or that you're looking at? Will you be there?
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going to go to the Final Four for sure. I do think Belfast will get there. I think it hurts them a little bit having to play in Hull the first night.
Yeah. That could be tough.
Very. And I don't think that's right anyway. I think they can only get the arena on a specific day there.
Yeah.
But I think the league has to realign that, me personally. And I think if you're the higher team, you should have the choice. You want to play at home first. Like, you want to have the lead going into the second game. You don't want to be down by 2 because you've gone to their building and say, well, it's easier to come back in your own building. It's easier to win the first game in your own building and build on that. And they put them under the gun a little bit, right? It's the same as penalty shots. The away team goes first. It's the only league I've ever seen, because now in the last 5 years I've been watching NHL, American Hockey League, Canadian College, American College, other places in Europe, and the home team always shoots first. So if they score, they put pressure on the other team.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they're doing that, except for, there's a couple teams that can only get their venues on certain nights. So that's probably that one. But I think it hurts them going into Hull. Hull can play good at home, and they can score. So if they get all of a sudden, Murph has a bad game there or something, they get down by 3, they are a team that can come back, but they'll sure be under the gun. But I think, me personally, I think Sheffield has a really good team. They're fast. I know that they've had guys missing during the year. As a group, they're probably the fastest team in the league, maybe with Belfast as a whole team. They don't have anybody that's really slow on their team. And they have a lot of depth, and if their goalie plays well in the playoffs, I think they can be a hard team to beat.
No, I agree. It's funny because I tweeted that. I feel good now. That I said that. Yeah. I didn't know you were going to say that. I said that they should take heart from the Nottingham performance, because for me, Sheffield are a better team overall.
Yeah.
And if Nottingham can do that to Belfast, there's no reason to believe that Sheffield couldn't do it.
No, and they won't meet each other
No.
until the final, if they can get to the final. Okay. So, because I think they finished, you're first and third. So they could meet in the semifinal. So who knows? But you know what? They have a good enough team to win it. And I guess every team has a good chance. They're only one game. You play in the semifinal, one game final. The trick is this weekend, really. I think Fife have been playing really well.
Yeah.
They got a good team. I think they can get to the Final Four.
They've been winning as well, haven't they? So
They're on a winning becomes a habit, doesn't it?
Yeah, and they're playing tough teams. It's not like they were playing
No.
the weaker third of the teams the last 2 months. They've played tough teams, Nottingham, Belfast, Sheffield, and they keep winning. And even when they were here, they only had 2 lines, and they were able to, we actually snuck a point out of them, to be honest to you. And they're playing well. They're a good skating club, and I think they could be a hard team to, or at least give a real good effort to win it all too.
That would be a big moment for the league,
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
yeah, it would.
But they
It
are
really
used
would.
to winning, and they do believe that they can beat anyone. So
Yeah,
and they will work. They
As a
will all
group,
work
yeah.
hard every shift.
yeah. Coach has got them going good right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's only 4 games, isn't it?
Yeah, and when it comes
Yeah.
down, when it comes to the finals weekend, anything can happen over one game. So
Yeah, and I only got to see Dundee play once, but I think it'll be a good game between those two. And from what I saw, I think Fife have better scoring. So I think, me personally, I think they'll win that series, but you never know. It's 2 games, and
No.
Dundee are the team that's a lot higher, so they've had the better year overall. So
Yeah.
I've only seen them play once, so it's unfair for me to say how they're going to do. But I just think Fife, who's on a roll,
Yeah.
in about their last 18 or 19 games, I think they've only lost 2. So
Incredible run.
yeah, it is very good.
Yeah.
No, and fair play to them, and congratulations to Fife on that run. And good luck heading into the playoffs. And good luck to Dundee as well. And Dundee obviously got an outstanding netminder, and I think that's a lot of the reason that they've had such a good season.
Yeah.
Dan's done a really good job for them this
Yeah.
season. They've been a bit unlucky with injury because Rawlik obviously was a very good player. Unfortunately, has taken a few bad injuries. So I'm not sure where Rory is at the moment, whether he's back for the playoffs. Does anybody know? The last injury he had was quite nasty, wasn't it? So cheekbone and nose and
Confused faces.
so yeah. Well, if you're not back, Rory, get well soon. If you see this, yeah.
I'm
you
sure.
never
I'm
know.
sure he'll be watching, John.
So going forward from the playoffs, Dave, and obviously then we'll be progressing into the summer, and we'll probably be starting to look at team for next year and accommodation and all the other things that go with that. You had a chat with the guys on Tuesday. Can you without going into specific details, can you
Tell
us
us
a little
exactly who you're bringing back now.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, to be honest, I just talked to them as one big group. Told them that I was pleased with their effort. Great bunch of guys. There's probably going to be a lot of friendships on that team for life because they were all really genuinely good people. And but right now, I don't want to do anything right now, to be honest to you. I usually don't. I usually let it sit for a couple weeks, just to, it's like the referee call or whatever. Sometimes you got to wait 24 hours, and then you might see his side more than you did at the time, right? more often or not, I was wrong, right? But anyway, it's the same with players. Sometimes you have somebody that's better than you would really think when you're sitting in ninth, but at the same time, we were sitting in ninth.
Yeah.
So there's got to be some changes. You want to move forward, and we have some very good players, but I think we have a lot of similar players. And I just said until I actually get my budgets all down and for sure type things, for sure numbers, I don't want to start offering players something I can't give them.
Yeah.
And we have one player signed. And other than that, I'm going to wait till after the Final Four before I even really talk to a player. And I've done a lot of budgets in my head, so I have kind of figures for certain players in certain spots on a team, and I try to build the team by lines. And that way, if a right winger, I don't want him starting as a left winger. If that's his real position, I want him starting on the right wing. And I try to get lines before the year starts, and I start them in those 3 guys that I had positioned in my head. And, it doesn't always work out. But I think if it does, a start to the season is so important. Like, I looked at the schedule here from Cardiff last year. I think they lost the first 5. And again, losing becomes easy.
Loads of games at home as well, wasn't it?
Loads of line changes.
6 or 7 games at home until we won one or something like
But
that.
we kept on changing lines continuously, didn't we? We couldn't even work out some of the time what line was on the ice.
Yeah, and it's hard on a coach when you're losing. You got to change something, right?
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the year, it's easy to change a line, and hope the best happens for you and for the team. But at the same time, you try really hard during the summer to bring in players who will complement each other.
Yeah.
And that's phone call after phone call after phone call. And to get a certain style of player that will play with him very well, and he'll complement each other. So I try to build a team like that. So again, I don't rush into things right now. We do need some changes. The players know it. I mean,
You can't be
they've
in a
been on
ninth
teams
place team
before.
and,
No, you can't be on ninth, and
Yeah.
everybody's not going to get their job back. That's just the way it is, right? And we'll wait and see. But hopefully, about a month after that, we'll have a good portion of the team in place.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to wait 1 or 2 extra kind of months to get that 1 or 2 players that are going to be the key guy that you really need, because those are the guys that have a lot more options, and you got to keep talking to them and why they need to come here, and you've got to be persistent. And I think if you keep being persistent, you tell them the truth right up the front. This is what it's going to be. This is your salary. This is that. It's kind of done. Don't let them hanging, because that just gets around, and it's just not good for anybody.
No.
So if you're going to sign, or you give a guy a couple days, and if not, you got to move on. But sometimes in that beginning of August, some players want to come because they're not getting the right offer somewhere else. and this is a great place to live and play. And with the school opportunity for a few players, it's great for a person who has their college already and degree and already, and you can come in here and do both. And most of those guys are very mature who are doing that master's program because they can be able to accommodate, playing, studies, going to school, and those guys are usually really good guys on your team because otherwise they wouldn't be doing that. And you need a few of those guys, and I think that was the greatest thing that ever happened to the league was that every team has a few of those master's programs to offer players, and I think it brings the level of players up as well. So I'm going to do my homework and try to bring in players who are going to do that program and make sure they're our better players.
So just in terms of the sort of makeup of a team in this league, where you're looking realistically at three forward lines, I guess, and then 5/6 D men. Are you able to just give an idea for fans or people who aren't sort of completely up with the intricacies of the sport and everything, what sort of makeup you're looking from those forward lines and defensive lines?
Well, the forward lines, I think you need an energy line, and you need an energy line at the right time that are willing to go and do things. We have some good energy players, and it's too bad they weren't a little bigger in Piggott and Jones, but those guys work so hard. They fly out there. They do everything possible for your team, everything. They're penalty killers. I had them penalty killing a lot, and they put in a great effort for us. I'd like to get a winger for them, whether it be an import or whether it be somebody else who can keep up with them, but add some size, a little bit of strength in the corners. They're not scared of anybody. They go in the corners first, second, whatever. They don't care. But it is better with one other guy that, a little bigger, because I'm not sure what those two weigh, but
Not a lot.
not a lot.
Yeah.
No, not a lot. But they do a great job for us, and they're important players in our team. Do they score a lot? No, but we don't need them to score. They're doing a great job penalty killing, and they've done a great job doing what they were doing.
Do you see that as a third line role
I
on
do,
this team?
yeah, on any team.
Or are they rotational forwards, like coming in from a sort of third, fourth line, or are they there as?
No, I think that's kind of the role they have. I think they can build on that. Pigsy was playing with Mizey and Mo, and they did a great job. And CJ could have been there too. So either one of them fits on in a different role as well. But at the same time, neither one of them has that natural offense. They got great skating. They're going to get some scoring chances, but they need somebody in the line who maybe has a little bit more natural finish. And the other two lines, you know what? I try to make them like two first lines, and sometimes that's hard because of finances. But I mean, you try your hardest to have two lines that can, any single night, one line's going and can score. Because if you have a second line who just scores just average amount, and the first line does do some scoring, but they have a couple of nights off, or a guy's hurt, or a guy's sick, or, all of a sudden you're not scoring enough goals. So I think if we can have two even lines who can score, but still play defense, and a really good energy line, you're always in every game. Defense, I am looking for a power play defenseman. Our power play was not good this year. I have my own reasons why, but I mean, I am looking for an offensive defenseman, for one, and maybe another guy with some size. We do need another guy back there who's got a little bit of size, a little bit of intimidation, going to the net and want to go and stand beside that guy that's 6'3" and cross-checking you and stuff like that, right? And sure, he's going to get the odd penalty, but he also saves you some goals along the way because guys don't want to stand there, like we were talking earlier. I don't think we really have one. Plummer does a good job at it, but I think we need for sure two of them, and I'm not sure who's going to come back on D anyway. I'd really like to get Marsh back.
Yeah.
For me, I thought he was pretty much the best player game in and game out for us. He works so hard every single day, and I never see him take a day off. He's hurt as well. Still no days off. He plays through it. You have to play sometimes every second shift when he's hurt. So I never really saw him play a bad game when I was here. So good leader, more of a quiet guy, but he goes out there and demonstrates how hard he works, and that in itself is a good leadership role. And I'm not sure what he wants to do, but I'd really like to get him back. He is one that I'm going to try to get back, and then just try to fit everybody else into a budget.
Yeah. Would you say you build your team front to back or back to front, or just or just any position based on
No.
a particular type of player?
Couple D, 3 forwards, and a goalie. And then the other guys, just whatever it happens, it happens. But I really want to have 3 forwards that I know are filling certain roles, 2 defensemen that serve certain roles, and then the goalie, he's a key player in our team. So we need those 6 guys. Really, I concentrate on getting those 6 are my priority. And I don't try to go after the other guys till I get my priority almost done, except for maybe one of them, like I said, because he might not become available till August.
Yeah.
So I try to save some money for that one player in case he does come. So that, and then everybody else kind of fits into roles. Like we have a couple guys that, one I think that's on, I'm not sure if anybody's really on a 2-year deal or not. I'll find that out in the next couple days. But I'd still like pretty much all of our British players back. I thought every one of them did a good job. So whether that's going to work or not, I don't know. I'd like them back. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Oh, I appreciate you letting us know that. The obviously Kirk has already signed for next season. Did you see that as being a real key to getting Kirk back on board?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be a gret player for us. We do have to find some players who can adapt to the way he plays. And I really like his offensive game. Great skater, really good guy in the dressing room. Everybody really likes him. We are going to have to work still with him on defensively, but when he doesn't have the puck. But I mean, you know what? When they're an offensive player, sometimes that other stuff goes to the side because they want the puck so much. Sometimes it's not a lack of effort. Sometimes it's a lack, or not a lack, but he just wants the puck so bad. He goes after the puck instead of staying with his guy, right? But I mean, he's a good player, good skills. He's played in the NHL. You got to be a good player to play at that level.
Yeah.
So, I'm not actually sure when he got here. And his contract was done prior to me getting on board. But I mean, he's a good player in any team, so I'm really glad to have him.
Oh, good. The mentioned to you briefly before the program. Certainly, you've mentioned you'd like to bring the British guys back if you could. Would you consider sending them to training camp, whether that was AHL, CHL, whatever, FHL, whatever camp you get them into? Maybe away with Mac and the NHL guys, or if that was on the cards, for instance, is that something you would look at?
Yeah, and I think I can try to help them out with that stuff. Actual camps don't really start till the end of August, so it's difficult. But I mean, I know Ben went out there last year, and where Mac lives, there's so many hockey players. So you're going to go on there with really good players. I think it's really beneficial too if you're working out with a group of guys, because it just motivates you even more. And they also see how hard those guys work. Like I've worked at a hockey academy for the last 5 years, and the NHL players use our gym when they get back, and you would never imagine how hard they work. Like it's like they're in there at 7. Some of them are still there at 11:30, and then they go on the ice. Like it's a job, and those guys are in unbelievable shape. So it's great for our kids to see.
Yeah.
Even the superstars, they're in there working.
Yeah.
And
well, that's why they're superstars.
That's exactly right. And it's the same. Ben probably had opened up his eyes a lot, seeing how hard they work on the ice, even though it's just a friendly day.
Yeah.
And he's in good shape and he works hard anyway.
Yeah.
But it's nice to say, holy mackerel, that guy works hard. Like if I want to play like him, I got to start working like that. And that goes all the way up and all the way down for all players. So, it would be a good thing.
Yeah, well, I think like that, especially on a team dynamic as well. If you see your top guys working hard, then if you can say, well, that guy's working hard and he's got bags of skill, that feeds down to the guys lower down the roster as well, doesn't it? So I think it's just as important for the top guys to have that work ethic. And normally they're the top guys because they do have the work ethic. So,
and that's in everything, right? Not even just sports and work, but in team sports, I think it's vital. Because you can't have one guy or 2 guys that don't work hard. You need everybody doing it.
Yeah.
So if your top guys work hard, it just flows right down to the bottom and everybody does it.
So it's quite excited though about the chance to put a roster together in Cardiff and see what it can do next year.
Yeah, for sure it is. I mean, I love that part of the job. I do like recruiting players. I like talking to guys. And I'm really excited about the new rink too. And it's an opportunity to get players in here to showcase themselves for a year. Because I think when the new rink comes, I think it's going to be exciting for all the players, for the city. I think it's going to be great. And I've been involved in the brand new rink at Belfast when we started there, and it was awesome. The whole everything was awesome. And I think it was because of the new rink where people wanted to come and see it, see the sport a little bit, especially for people who had never seen it.
Yeah.
You hear about the new rink, and there are lots of people coming and looking at it. And next thing you know, you have 5,000 hockey fans every night. And, we never ever believed there was going to be that many.
No.
And actually, to be honest, we sold out for the first 2.5 years at 7,000. But I mean, it was a venue that people like going to. And I think this is a great area. And it's a great city. And we have a lot of hockey fans here anyway. But we also have a lot of knowledgeable hockey fans here. Belfast, it was great because a lot of them were brand new to the sport. They have hockey there, but there were still a lot of them were brand new.
Yeah.
And it was an evening out for them.
Yeah.
It was great. It was just a fun night, fun avenue to go to in that rink, go to all the bars after.
Yeah.
And I think down in the Bay, people can make a night of it, and it's an enjoyable night.
It's a lot more attractive proposition, isn't it? Going down there, knowing there's a bar there, knowing what development is going to come. There's more and more things going down there already, isn't there, in terms of places to eat, stuff like that. And it is important, isn't it? It's not just... you get the thing when you go to, Nottingham and watch a game, it's not just going to watch a hockey game, it's going for an experience and a night out, isn't it? And to be able to provide that, even though the arena is obviously smaller than Nottingham and Belfast, it's still a good size, and you would hope that it means that we can compete on that level more in terms of what the club can offer as well, in terms of an experience for people to go and enjoy, especially for people who aren't, as you said, in Belfast, it wasn't just a lot of hockey fans, it was people new to the sport, and that's the kind of thing which draws them in, and then they hopefully fall in love with the sport after that. Yeah,
and there's a lot of spin-off for the other businesses around there. A lot of people come to that game, and if we can get that 2,500 or 3,000 every night, and 10% of them go out for dinner first, then it's nice. It's good for the community. It's and you want to try to get the players involved a little bit that way too, and get everybody into it, and we're excited about it.
You touched on it, but do you think that knowing that and seeing that work is happening there now, and actually being able to say, yes, this is going to happen roughly around the time it's that's been scheduled, and there's people on site, there's stuff happening. We haven't had that before. And in terms of the players that you recruit next year, do you think that will have an impact on the ice as well, in terms of the potential for what they can make as a potential home for themselves for a few years playing hockey?
I've never met a player yet here who doesn't like the city.
No.
So they all love living here. They're treated well. The fans are great. You use that as a selling tool for sure. Every player is excited that's here. They want to stay here because they know how good it is, and they know that rink's coming. Yeah. And it's awesome playing in a brand new rink. It really is, just for everything. You love going to it every day. It's like going to a new place at work that you love going to, right? Yeah. And it's exciting. When it comes game time, you can't wait to get on there. And it's a huge bonus. It really is. And when you're actually seeing them work on it right now, that is good, because I've been around here long enough in different places saying about we're getting a new rink, we're getting a new rink, and it never happens, right? And even this one has taken a while to get it going. Yeah. But it's awesome for everybody in the city, because there's a lot of kids that use that ice surface for skating, and it's just a nice place to come to for people, families, and hopefully everybody can enjoy it.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Looking forward to it.
In the interview, the other interview you did with Chris recently in the club, I thought I heard you mention that you were going to be involved in the players' accommodation. Did you say that in your interview?
Yeah, I'll try to help out. Yep, for sure. It's one of the roles I should be doing. I'm bringing in the players, and everybody has their role in the office too. So, I've put the word out to a few of the state agents, and this is what we're going to be looking for. But again, until I sign how many guys are single, most single guys do want to share with another guy, and how many married guys who probably don't want to share. so it'll probably, I'll probably try to jump back out here at the end of June for about a week or 10 days. Whether I stay that time or not, right now my plan was to come back beginning of August. But I'd really like to get home. My son's in the playoffs in the Western Hockey League right now. So probably the week after the Final Four, I'd like to get home and try to catch some of his games. And then I'd like to be back for the schedule meeting. And I'd like to be part of the fixtures.
Good.
And
yeah, we'd like that.
Well, so it's I just talked to Brent about it yesterday. They had a meeting yesterday, and I think it's going to be July 2nd and 3rd. So I'll try to get back in there and try to get the accommodations done. And so players are, when they get here, just go right into a house, and you're not sharing with somebody, or you're not moving in here. Just if you're organized, it just starts off smoother, and hopefully we're all organized.
Oh, I like the sound of that. And pleased to hear you're on board with that.
Yeah, and so is all the staff. Paul, it was good. He gave us all our roles, our responsibilities, and it's good. Everybody does a good job in the office. Everybody's willing to help each other out, and I think the office staff really work well together right now, and that's a huge thing too right now. And that because without them, it's never ever going to work. Comes from the top down, and the meetings in the last couple of weeks been very good. We're focused in the right areas, all of us are, and we all know our roles, and I think we'll do a good job.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, no. You touched on a lot of things tonight. I think a lot of us will be very happy to hear. And any other points you'd like to go over, Aled?
Oh, I think in terms of the team and from next year on, I think I've said what I want.
I think what you said very encouraging. We like what you're talking about. I think the fans in general will be pleased to hear that the way you see the team going, and also that you're excited, obviously, to be sharing the future with us, and going into the new rink. The style of hockey that you'd like to bring, I think, is a style of hockey that we like to see in Cardiff.
Yeah.
We like to see an aggressive forecheck. We like to see clearing out in front of the netminder. We enjoy, like Plums. You mentioned Plums earlier. He's been very popular with the fans this season because he plays a style of hockey that we like to see. So I think we'll all be pleased to see, players who play that style of hockey here. I think we like the sound of bringing, another big D in as well. I think that probably is something. I think the fans in general will be pleased a lot with everything you've said tonight, really, because I think it's all things that we talked about. Yeah,
scoring goals is good as well.
We definitely like to score more goals.
Yeah,
usually.
Yeah, all of us do.
Yeah.
I have had a lot of supporters come and ask me to try to get another triple header.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
So I don't know if everybody wants one or
Yeah.
not, but
Yeah.
if we do, I'll try my hardest.
Yeah.
They massively popular. We don't mind if you get one with Braehead Clan as well, because we missed them out the last two times, haven't we? The Cardiff fans and the Braehead fans are quite close. They're the Purple Army. We're the Red Army.
Yeah.
There's a good friendship there
and you
between
were
the
the
two.
bridge between the two.
I wasn't.
Yeah,
gonna
he
say
hasn't
that.
said that yet.
No, I wasn't going to say that this time. No, it all sounds very exciting. I think we're all looking forward to seeing how the roster develops, and seeing obviously what men you bring in and what guys we get in. We know they're going to be good guys because we know obviously that'll be an area you'll be looking at. And thank you for coming back on board with us.
Yeah. Thank you.
I know it wasn't the end of the season that we all wanted, but that's hockey. It happens in hockey. We could easily have finished sixth.
Yeah.
There was
one goal.
We were a few seconds away from sixth place. It didn't. It was like a piece of paper between us and Coventry. They finished. The table will show they finished sixth. There's actually nothing in it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But that's hockey.
Yeah. For a 0-0 game, it was pretty exciting.
It was.
For both teams.
It was.
Goalies had to make some good saves. Both goalies were the stars of the game.
I thought they played very well.
Both of them
that
did.
night.
Yeah, they played real well.
It was tense.
Yeah,
it was tense. There was a lot of tears up in the stand, even before the game had finished. There was a lot. I know you were crying on the bench, Dave.
Yeah.
No, there was a lot of tears up in there was a lot of us feeling stressed.
Yeah.
Holding our breath. I wasn't crying. I may have been agitated.
Yeah.
I felt for the guys. I think a lot of people did, because it's been a tough season for us, and we were willing them to get there because we felt that with the season they've been through, that maybe if we get there, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe we could have got something, and I suppose we were all thinking it would just be great for the guys if we could have got something for them.
Oh yeah. And we weren't really scared of any team that we were going to play, so we think we could beat any team, even Belfast. Right? The last two games we played very well against them. Should have won. You're winning 4-2, and they have a team that can come back and win. And that kind
That's the strange thing about the season, isn't it? Is that the teams had a good record against a lot of the bigger teams as well. Sheffield,
we performed very well against the best teams.
Nottingham a winning record, and things like that. And I think it hurt playing Belfast so many times before they'd won the championship, because obviously after they'd won it, there was a bit of a drop there, and that probably hurt us a little bit. But there you go, fixtures, so all good.
Well, sometimes it's hard, right? Because you never know who's going to be the top team. It just happened because they did play Belfast at the beginning of the year quite a bit, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, you know, I mean,
We did. We got most of our games against them out of the way early doors
yeah.
when we probably weren't performing as well as we'd have liked, unfortunately.
No,
So,
and then you're playing the wrong team then, right?
yeah.
So,
But really appreciate your time, Dave.
yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you very
thanks
much.
for your,
Thank you for coming.
your
And
candidness
we'll
tonight and,
hopefully you'll come back on next season. Hopefully maybe early in the season we can have a chat about the guys that we've signed, because obviously we won't be familiar with some of them.
Yep.
Maybe talk about what you were doing during the summer, and good luck obviously with everything. We'll see you at the playoffs.
Yeah, well, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be at the castle having a beer with everybody.
Yeah. No, good. And exciting times ahead, I think.
Yeah, for us, for everybody.
Yeah, and good luck.
Yes, thanks very much.
Thank you.